Show you how to do a paced bottle feed. With the paced bottle feed, when you have a newborn or a baby that's less than 6 weeks, you really want to make sure to pace it. So I'm going to get this guy going and then I'm going to kind of talk you through it. But when you're doing a paced bottle feed, you want to kind of do nipple to nose. And then the most important thing with a paced bottle feed is you want to pay attention to the flow rate. So with the flow rate, we're making sure that he's only getting milk when he's actually sucking. So you don't have to worry about air. A lot of bottles, this is a Dr. Brown's bottle, but a lot of bottles have a venting system in them. So if you're worried that if you hear air or if you see that the milk isn't completely covering the nipple, a lot of parents are worried that it means their baby is getting a lot of air in their stomach and it'll cause issues with gas and extra burping. But most bottles nowadays, they all have built-in venting systems. Just check with your bottle and make sure it does. But the biggest thing is that when babies stop sucking, the flow rate stops. So if a baby is kind of clamping down on a nipple, even if they're not sucking sometimes, it'll make milk pool in the back of their throat. And if it's going down their throat, then they're going to continue to swallow. So just practicing infant-led feeding and making sure that your baby you're really paying attention to your baby's cues. It's good for breastfeeding babies. And then also just if you're formula feeding or pumping and giving a bottle, you want to do the pace bottle feeding. I'm going to let this guy go for a little bit, and then I'm going to show you a different position you can do with pace bottle feeding. He's in a side lying position, and he's about 3 months old, so he's a little bit advanced for this position, but I wanted to at least show you what it looks like to have your baby in a side lying position. He's swaddled because babies that are a little bit preterm, newborns, or even in the first 6 weeks, if you are feeding them a bottle and their arms are flying all over the place, it can make them feel like they're falling, and it can make their suck-swallow rhythm a little bit disorganized. So swaddling them really helps them stay organized and helps them be a little bit more efficient with feeding. So I'm going to actually stop and burp him because he has shown me some cues that maybe he is finished. Hi, buddy. Hi. So with burping, it's really important that you pay attention to their head and neck control. He's got really good neck control because he's a little bit older. But with a newborn baby, it's all about paying attention to what's going on with their head. So I'm going to put him over my shoulder and show you guys. He's up here pretty high on my shoulder, and that's the goal. You want to have their stomach way up there on your shoulder so that you're putting pressure on their belly. There we go. That was a good burp. And then I'll show you this other position you can do. Hi, bud. It's okay. You can do, let me see if he actually wants to take a little bit more of his bottle. Here you go, buddy. Here you go. Yeah, he got that burp out and he's ready to go. So this is another position you can do for pace bottle feeding. So in this position, he can be in front of you, but the bottle is still horizontal in his mouth. So we're still watching the flow rate. When he pauses, we're tipping the bottle down a little bit so that he's not continuing to have it drip down the back of his throat. You want to pay attention to the different nipple sizes that you have with your bottle. Most bottle sets are going to come with a newborn nipple, and then you can go up. With breastfeeding babies, I recommend staying close to the newborn and size 1 nipples throughout your breastfeeding journey, just because if they start to get the milk faster with the flow rate out of the bottle, you might have some issues going back and forth from the breast to the bottle. But typically when you're doing a feed, if it's taking you longer than 30 minutes to do a bottle feed, that's a cue to you that you're going to want to go up in a size for the nipple. So he's doing a really good job of sucking a few times, and then he takes a pause. Hi, and now he's going to smile at me. Babies that have reflux or babies that are born a little bit early, sometimes when you give them a bottle, they will continue to suck and suck and suck and not pause. And they can even have some periods of choking. So you want to make sure if your baby is not pausing after a few sucks that you really help them slow that flow rate down by tipping the bottle down, hi, and helping them take a pause and swallow. But he's doing a good job of doing that on his own. And his suck is changing a little bit. He's not sucking quite as vigorously right now, so I'm gonna probably take this bottle out of his mouth in a minute and burp him. Hello. Well, he's just flirting with me, actually. Okay, I'm gonna burp him. Hi, buddy. You need a burp? So I'm gonna try and show you this burping technique where you kind of lean them forward. If you had a newborn, you'd really want to make sure that your thumbs and your finger are underneath their jawline, because when babies have their head like this when they're a newborn, they're not able to protect their airway. So it's really important that you have your hand there protecting your airway. He's got good head control. I would still have your hand there, but just keep that in mind for a newborn. If you're doing this technique where you're leaning them forward on your hand to get that burp, which can be really comforting for newborn babies, you've got your fingers right under their chin protecting their airway. Burping, always be a little bit more firm than you think you need to be. You're not gonna hurt them. Rubbing their back kind of up and down helps work the burp out. Pressure right underneath their chest, kind of right above their belly is where you wanna have your hand. There we go. Whoops. He was giving us a visual for that burp. Hi. And then I'm gonna see if he wants to take a little bit more. So I'm gonna show you a position you can do with a little bit older baby. He's older, so he can hold his head upright. So you could even do a bottle like this. And then I can still see the flow rate.